Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for being here. I do want to go back to what I think some of the main drivers were for the child tax credit and the American Rescue Plan. If you remember, we were in the midst of the pandemic. A lot of people were talking about how we needed to provide relief to families. So keep in mind, we had school closures, we had daycare availability, we had a lot of stressors that suddenly made people who were employed think what was going to cost them less, stay employed or go home and take care of their children. And we were trying to find a way to make the numbers work. The Congress was trying to make the numbers work. I voted against the American Rescue Plan and stand by that decision, not purely because of the CTC, because I don't think we're getting this right. Do we need a child tax credit? Yes. How do we go about implementing, or do we need to provide assistance to families with children? Yes. Do we need it through the child tax credit? Questionable in my mind. The child tax credit was temporary in the American Rescue Plan. And it was truly incentivized to keep people to work. Now we're declaring it to be highly successful with about 5 months of data. I mean, would anybody looking at that program now think that we have sufficient information, Dr. Myers, sufficient information to draw a conclusion it's a highly successful program and we should just reauthorize it?
I don't think so. When we looked at welfare reform back in the 90s, there was a huge amount of high-quality research that preceded it. We're not seeing that kind of research effort to investigate the effects of the American Rescue Plan Act.
Yeah. I think fundamentally, and if you disagree, say so, I think everybody, we should have programs that give parents the flexibility they need to raise their children, to develop their work skills, and hopefully be able to get to work. What's wrong with a policy that tries to incent a positive outcome, which is ultimately to be independent of any government assistance? What's wrong with that sort of mindset when we go in and try to figure out what a child tax credit policy should look like, or other government support systems?
I don't think that there's anything wrong with that at all. The problem I see with the replacing the CTC with the child allowance is that it's universal and it's not targeted to those who really need assistance.
Right.
It's just going to everyone.
I'm sure we're going to have more discussions about this as it's set to expire. But the only relevant experience I have in this space is when I was Speaker of the House. Back during the Obama administration, we had a 10.4% unemployment rate in North Carolina, fourth highest in the nation. President Obama offered every state the opportunity to extend unemployment by another 26 weeks. The state of North Carolina, as a result of a decision I made, and the Senate Majority Leader took a pass on $750 million in additional unemployment benefits. We had an unemployment insurance fund that was nearly insolvent. We implemented policies that reduced the forward benefit on people prospectively who were unemployed by 25% to put it in line with the regional average. We reduced the duration to the prevailing rate of unemployment. So if we were in high states of unemployment, you got 13 weeks. If we were in high states or low states, high states, you got more. Now, everybody said that was horrible, it was draconian, it was going to destroy families. The only thing that happened over 6 quarters is we went from 10.4% unemployment to 6.4% unemployment with no measurable increase in social services safety net funding for the state. I, for one, think we got it right. And I, for one, think we should get this right. It's not about whether or not it should exist, it's who should be qualified for it and what expectations should we have for working families with respect to getting on track, to getting a job, and reducing their independence on government. And if we have that discussion, they can count me in. But just the simple, straight-up reauthorization of the CTC, I don't think serves the best interest of the very people that we're trying to help. Thank you, Mr. Chair.